Hi friends, it's Andrea, and this is just going to be basically a jibber jabber video. I'm going to show you what I got here on the sewing table, talk a little bit about the projects I'm currently working on, and we'll just hang out for about 30 minutes. If that sounds fun to you, please stay on the line. If this isn't your cup of tea, check out my curated playlist. I have hundreds of step-by-step video tutorials that are concise, fun, and functional sews. So before we get started today, do me a favor, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It's one of the only ways you can let me know that you appreciate the time, effort, materials, and thought that go into producing these weekly videos. So thanks so much for doing that. So the first thing that I want to start with today is this awesome deal that I found at the Hobby Lobby. I was so surprised when I rounded the corner and saw baskets and baskets of yarn at deep, deep discount. So I'm going to show you what I found, and then I want to brainstorm with you some project ideas for this yarn. I know it's so much fun, right? Like, I am not a very accomplished crocheter or knitter, but oh my goodness, I love yarn. So I really do want to make some things from this pretty yarn, but when I show you the price, you'll understand why I couldn't resist. So this gorgeous skein here is normally $7.49. It was $1.87. So I got a couple of those, all $1.87. This one I gotta tidy up just a little bit. I'm curious, do you roll your yarn into balls? I like to do that, but it is, of course, time consuming. Then this here is normally $4.99. I got it for $1.24. Like, I just could not resist. Same thing here. I was able to get 2 of those. And all of these are all $1.24. That's just amazing to me. If somebody wants to do the math, regular price $4.99. How much did I save? It's got to be close to 90%. The colors are fabulous. So for those of you that do crochet, what are some projects that I could make with just one skein of yarn? So fun. Some things that came to my mind are coffee koozies, the little coffee sleeves, right? We're coming into the winter months, and those are nice so you don't burn your hand, of course, but they also help keep the coffee warmer longer. They make wonderful holiday gifts. Baby hats, but you know, you have to know some babies to make those. So I'm looking for kind of like home decor projects, maybe coasters. Another thing that I'm super interested in learning is the granny square, right? I've seen some really fun projects where they took multicolored granny squares and then you stitch all of those little squares together and you make a bigger project. So if you have a favorite granny square, please drop that in the comments for me. But you can see I loaded up on yarn, and I already had a pretty decent, not crazy, but a decent stash of yarn. So I am ready to settle into what I refer to as crochet season. I like to crochet in the colder winter months, and these last few days here in Virginia have really felt like fall. So I am all set here. So please, please, please share your small crochet project ideas with me down in the notes so that I can get inspired and start using up this pretty yarn that I got for an absolute steal. So that works really well. And then it will be out in the open where I can see it and I'll be reminded to use it. So what I love about the granny square idea is you could just make one in say like less than 30 minutes and then collect them. So they don't take up a lot of space on your work surface or in the car. You can make them on the go when you're traveling. So I think I really would like to start with those. So please do share links to your favorite granny squares down in the notes. I mentioned to you in last week's tutorial that my Michaels now carries fabric. So the prices are just absolutely fabulous. To me, I describe it like this. One aisle with fabric on both sides, okay? So 2 rows of fabric. And it's as if someone curated just the essentials. You have a nice collection of solids, some cute prints, some novelty prints, some wide backs, a little bit of flannels, and a pinch of holiday fabrics, and then the essential interfacing. So because the prices are so fabulous, I've been trying to swing by once a week and just pick out 5 yards of fabric that I like. And so this was this week's selection. This is a boutique and it reminds me of camo. It's really pretty, isn't it? Love that. Got these darling little bicycles. This fun kind of scientific inspired, Einstein inspired fabric. This map print, and then this great cross hatch. So let me know in the comments which one is your favorite. Also really curious if you have fabric at your Michaels and what you think of their collection and the pricing. I am not really a fabric collector. For a really long time, I made custom bags and people would choose their own fabric. So I was always just left with scraps, and that's what I worked with for my projects. But since I haven't been accepting custom orders, I am trying to build up a small but reasonable collection of fabric, primarily in 1 yard cuts. And I have a pretty nice collection of fabric going on here by the yard. So just last Saturday, we kicked off the 3rd year of the Sewspire Friendship Circle. And as I've mentioned before, we are working on a full quilt this quarter. So we have until the end of the year to put together a quilt by Jenny Beyer. It's called the Harlequin quilt. There is a free pattern for that. You can give it a good Google and come across that. So these are the fabrics that I have selected for mine. So it's going to be primarily teal, red, and a little pop of yellow with some royal blue. I found the fabric, believe it or not, at Walmart. So I thought it might be fun to craft a couple of the blocks with you so you can see how those come together and get a better feel for my color scheme that I'm going with. And also to give you an idea if you might enjoy joining the friendship circle and making one of these quilts for yourself. One of the really neat things about participating in the friendship circle is everybody's quilt is different because of their fabric selection. So it's really fun to get inspired by the choices that other people make. So far, we don't have anyone that is going to even have a quilt that is slightly similar. Of course, the best part of participating in the friendship circle, which is completely free, is your ability to connect with quilters of all different experience levels. So I really enjoy that. There's never been a meeting that I haven't learned something. So this particular block is very simple. In fact, we have friends who already have their quilt tops completely done. I've heard you could put the top together in a day for sure. To me, the most cumbersome part, if you will, is just cutting out the fabric, and that doesn't even really bother me because I like looking at the colors and working with the different prints to create a unique look. So each one of these little blocks has a 2.5-inch square, and then it is flanked by a 4-inch by 2-inch rectangle. And so there are 4 rectangles that go around this. And the trick with this block is when you attach this first rectangle to the center square, you only attach it partially. So I'm lining up those top edges there. In quilting, you're always working with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and you do not back stitch. So I only stitched partially down the side of that larger rectangle. Then I'm going to go ahead and align that second rectangle, and I can stitch all the way down this edge, and it should measure exactly 4 inches. And then continuing around, I have another edge that measures exactly 4 inches. I'll position a rectangle against that edge. And then now I'm back to the edge where I partially stitched. So I'm going to keep that first rectangle out of the way so I can attach the 4th rectangle to that 4-inch edge. And then now I can fold down that first rectangle and attach it all the way across. Then I just need to give this a good press, and I have one of my blocks crafted there. When this is finished, the blocks measure 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches. Now I'm going to have some variation in the blocks. So these darker ones would be my contrasting or darker block. Then I'm going to have some that just feature the center square and all of the rectangles are white. So these darker blocks are going to come in a couple different variations. Some of them will have more teal, some of them will have more red, some of them will feature this fun floral, which is still relatively light, but the darker blocks will all be crafted from the prints, whereas my lighter blocks are going to incorporate that white. And the way the pattern comes together, that's what's going to offer the quilt top its interest. So all in all, it's very simple project, but I was really grateful to have some friends to talk through the measurements of this with and the actual assembly process. The other thing that I was debating, because I had purchased a charm pack that was cut, 2.5 inches wide, if I could get away with just sticking with the 2.5 inches, but ultimately I decided to take the extra time, stick to the pattern, and trim those down to 2 inches. So there was a smidgen of waste, but the blocks you can see are really nice proportions. So I think that was worth the extra effort. So I'm going to go ahead and put together one of each of my blocks, and then I'll show you what that looks like. So these are going to be my block combinations for my Harlequin quilt. Really fun combination here. It should be bright and cheerful, so I'm very excited about that. I will not be here with you next week, but I am working on putting together a very special opportunity for us to come together as one big Sewspire community in celebration of 8 years of the Sewspire YouTube channel. So that's very exciting. That event is going to happen at the end of October, early November. So the next time I see you, I will have more information for you on how you can register for that free event and join me to make my Route 66 tote. This is a patchwork project, a beautiful scrap buster, and it is made from precisely 66 cuts of fabric. So more information about the Sewspire 8-year anniversary celebration is to come. Please keep your eye on Sewspire Instagram and Facebook, and I will see you in about 2 weeks. I hope you have a beautiful transition into autumn, and as always, please know the creative genius in me will be celebrating the creative genius in you. Thank you for spending this time with me today, and I hope you're feeling inspired to create something beautiful.